This has become top trending news within the Destiny 2 category as Datto has decided to say goodbye for a while. If you don't know who Datto is, he is one of the biggest and longest running Destiny 1, Destiny 2 content creators, most infamously known for 2402, where he cleared the Last Wish raid 2 minutes after its 24-hour contest mode, meaning he didn't get the emblem. Only two teams cleared in contest, and that was Redeem and Tier 1. He's also known for having raid guides on his YouTube channel and really just a big YouTube channel. He has a massive YouTube presence. And so when arguably one of the world's biggest Destiny content creators says goodbye, this is a sign of the times. Like, we're talking about someone that makes a ton of money from playing Destiny and uploading content, that if even he isn't interested in playing, you know things are bad. He tweeted out an hour ago saying, "See you at Renegades. Bye for a little while now." And if you don't know, Renegades should be out in about, what is it, like 2.5 months from now? So a pretty lengthy break, but nothing too unreasonable. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on between now and Renegades, other than, I guess, an exotic mission, which hopefully, fingers crossed, absolutely delivers, just like this epic raid did. If you weren't able to come by my live stream and watch the epic raid, it was so good. The change up to the mechanics and the new encounter really made this raid an incredible experience, and I can't overemphasize that enough, because right now we have been absolutely roasting Bungie for months now because they seemingly can't do anything right. Well, that was until the epic raid. This epic raid was right. It delivered in a way that, honestly, I was not expecting. I was kind of expecting a flop, considering the way everything's been going for the game. But this epic raid was actually very good. The first of its kind, where we had added mechanics and a whole new encounter changing up the existing raid. But feel free to let me know how you felt about it as a viewer experiencing it, because I do think there are some mixed opinions, and you're more than welcome to have a difference of opinion than me. The one thing that is pretty unfortunate about this is that we actually got a really good raid experience during a really low time in terms of Destiny population. And in fact, this raid had very little impact on the overall population of Destiny 2, as you can see here. The raid launched right here at 28,000 players, which is extremely low. To give you a comparison, Edge of Fate's contest raid rather, launched at 108,000 players, which was already pretty low comparative to something like Final Shape with 314,000 players. So a peak of 28,000 players for the launch of almost like a brand new raid in some ways is really indicative of how bad things have been going for Bungie and for Destiny 2. It sucks to have all of this bad press, all this bad PR leading into arguably some really good content, because now not a lot of people will experience it. And it is, in fact, all Bungie's fault. They have made a series of really bad decisions that has gotten themselves into this predicament. There was very little promotion hyping up the new epic raid race. It felt like it wasn't going to be all that much, right? Like, if Bungie doesn't promote something a ton, you get the idea that, like, they didn't really put a lot of work into it. Like, a good example is the Iron Banner rework that just came back out, right? They said that they were putting it on hiatus and that it was going to get some adjustments and some improvements to it. And then months later, it comes back and there's literally like nothing new in Iron Banner. There's like one updated gun and it still has bug stats. And to be fair, Bungie literally did not hype up their Iron Banner revamp. It was like one small paragraph in a twid, right? So you kind of adjust your expectations based on how much is Bungie hyping this thing up. If they're putting a ton of momentum, a ton of hype, a ton of marketing into it, then they probably actually worked on it really hard. Like, a good example is Final Shape. Bungie put all of the marketing, everything into this. They wanted everyone in the world to hear and know that the Final Shape was happening, and they reached a massive audience. 314,000 on Steam alone is incredible. If you take into account the other platforms like the Epic Launcher, Xbox, and PlayStation altogether, then that's probably close to like 1 million players online at one moment, which is really good for Destiny 2, but if you're a fan of Fortnite, apparently that means it's a dead game if you haven't seen that video recently. But for Destiny 2, 1 million players is incredible. But 28,000 on the launch day of this epic raid, a world's first race, is awful. And if you think like, oh, what are we even comparing this to? Like, why is 28,000 awful? Like, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of paying customers. Well, if you look at one of Destiny 2's biggest rivals, I say rivals lightly because, you know, these games they're kind of in the similar genre, but they're very different. You have Warframe here, right? Warframe, on average, as you can see, in the last 24 hours, 53,000 people. This game is very regularly at like 50K players, no matter what. And when you look at its all-time peaks, of course, there's big peaks like 181,000 players in June 2021. Obviously, some big stuff came out there, but this game is super consistent over its like 13-year span. It's just consistently had a really high population, and it maintains upward trending growth. And some people will criticize saying that, well, Warframe is like an actually free-to-play game, but so is Destiny 2, technically speaking, you know? But I don't know, maybe you think the comparison isn't fair. I think it is, because these two games are as close as it gets to being in the same or a similar genre. And there's a lot of people that are big fans of Destiny 2 that transition over to Warframe and vice versa. The two different categories share a kind of niche to them that has made them not necessarily rivals, but they're two games that basically compare against each other. And Warframe just absolutely blows Destiny's population out of the water, especially post Final Shape. And it's even more alarming when you think about Destiny 2 having a dev team of 850 people that all get paid like $100,000 salary, right? Whereas Warframe has a dev team of like 300 people. So they have less than half the dev team, but more than double the population of players, which means that Warframe is going to have a lot better longevity and a better consistent experience over the next few years comparative to Destiny 2, which is likely going to experience an even worse downturn from the backlash of all those layoffs and from just the never-ending PR nightmares that Bungie seems to find themselves in every other week. Every other week, it's like we're reporting on some new crazy thing that's happening inside Bungie studios. I don't understand how they continuously outdo themselves. And from these downward trending populations comes a downward trend in content creators and their revenue, which is why big name streamers and content creators have been they've been dropping like flies, right? We talked about how Grenader Jake is taking a break until Renegades. He's not playing any more trials. We talked about how Glad is not doing the raid anymore. We talked about how Above is completely leaving Destiny 2 for a period of time. It seems like almost everyone is dipping out on Destiny 2 until Renegades because it's just that bad right now. Datto did clear the most recent raid, and a lot of people give him a ton of backlash and criticism and hate when he's doing these raids, because he was previously in contention for like getting a world's first, and a lot of people wanted to see him get a world's first. But nowadays, I feel like he's kind of just playing to just have fun and hang out with his friends, and he's probably just having a more casual experience. And so people come in the chat and they roast him because he's so far behind in the raid race, or maybe he makes some mistakes and things like that. Basically, they use it as an opportunity to attack his character and try to humiliate him while he is live streaming these raid races. Not only that, but the community has become really, really negative and borderline toxic in some ways, where we criticize every little thing in the game. And to be fair, the game does deserve a high degree of criticism considering the fall off. I mean, when you look at the fall off, you got to be like, what went wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to not criticize this. Like, this is actually crazy. You don't go from 314,000 at the start of your calendar year and end it with 31,000 and say you're doing something right. But that negativity really wears off on streamers after enough time, because you kind of just wake up every day and you're just like, all right, what's the next shit show that Bungie's going to drop today? You know, what's the next thing that's going to happen? What's it going to be today? You know? And so I think that that's been weighing on a lot of streamers and why a lot of them are taking a break. Gathalion, who is one of the biggest Destiny 1 streamers in the world for a period of time, tweeted out saying, how long before Datto doesn't Destiny? And Datto himself replied saying, don't worry, the community will push me out well before the game does. Pretty soon. Tired of this. So the community and the backlash is really getting to him now, which is why he's decided to take this extended break until Renegades. Gathalion responds saying, you're a good dude. I was making a lighthearted joke, but gosh. Obviously, he didn't mean much by it. Goth was just making a funny tweet that was basically referencing all the other biggest big name content creators leaving and taking a break from Destiny. And so he wanted to throw Datto's name into the hat because obviously he's one of the most storied and most well-known Destiny content creators. But he was definitely surprised to actually see that Datto said he himself will be leaving soon. So is this it? Will this be the beginning of the end for Datto Does Destiny? It would seem as though at the very least he's taking a break until Renegades. This doesn't come completely from out of nowhere. He actually did say this on Blue Sky about a month ago. Someone responded to my tweet saying that Datto said, honestly, have not been doing great these last couple of weeks. My energy is completely gone. My mood has been shit. Sorry if that comes across in my content. Good odds right now of taking all of October away from Destiny. It has been terrible for my mental lately. I have no passion for it right now. So basically, he's talking about just taking the entirety of October off, considering it's going to be like the downtime between the end of Edge of Fate's new content release and Renegades. But let me know what you think about the situation down in the comment section below. How do you feel about Datto taking a break, Grenader Jake taking a break, all the biggest content creators seemingly taking a break? I'll be reading your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.